Hi everyone, before we get into today's video, I wanted to announce that you can now support this channel through YouTube's membership program. You can become a member by clicking join on any one of my videos. Members will get exclusive access to behind the scenes pictures, videos, and a shiny badge next to your name in the comments section. Your support will help make this channel better than ever. Thank you and enjoy the video. Hey everyone, after many requests, I'm finally bringing you all a mine exploring gear video. In a moment, I'll talk through all of my fundamental mine exploring gear and equipment, including the camera gear and the lighting that was used to film the footage you're seeing now. This video doesn't include any of my vertical gear, but I'll plan on making another video for that equipment at a later date. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. Thanks for watching. Alright, we'll go ahead and get started with the most requested item, and that is my camera. This is a Sony Alpha A7 III with a Sony 14mm f1.8 lens. Now to most of you that's going to sound like a bunch of gibberish, but I'll leave that in there for the real camera nerds out there. This is a pretty high-end consumer grade camera. It gets fantastic results, both video and photos. Now one thing about the Sony cameras is that they're very good in low light conditions, which is obviously very favorable in an abandoned mine. Basically what that means is that in low light situations, the color quality is still good, the autofocus works well, and there's very little grain in the video. Now I would argue that the lens is actually a lot more important than the camera. This lens has a 14mm focal length, classifying it as a wide angle lens, meaning that it has a wide field of view. For those who don't know, this effectively means that I can fit more of what's in front of the camera on the screen, which is perfect for a confined space like an abandoned mine. This lens also has a very wide aperture, and without boring you with the details, this basically means that it can let a lot more light in. So in summary, this lens is pretty much perfect for abandoned mines. It's got a large field of view, a wide aperture to let in a lot of light, and it's pretty lightweight as well. Alright, this is my stabilizer. This is a Zhiyun Weeble S, kind of a weird name. The camera goes right here. When it's working normally, it kind of looks like that. The camera will be where my hand is, basically, on top of that. And it's got this handle on that side, and then this actually folds up like that, so I can carry it around like that as well. And this thing runs on 18650 lithium-ion batteries. They're rechargeable, and you can see it's pretty dirty, pretty beat up so far, and it's held up pretty well actually. Alright, another really important one here is my camera's panel light. The brand is Viltrox, which is basically just some cheap Chinese brand, no offense. But that's what it is. This was pretty inexpensive. I think it was $45 and runs off of a lithium-ion battery pack. It has adjustable brightness levels, but you can also adjust the temperature of the light, which is effectively the tone or the warmth of the light that's being emitted. The battery pack is removable, like so, and these can be charged on a docking station style charger. Now this is actually brand new. I just got it because I was a little disappointed with some aspects of my old panel light, which I'll show you. And I'm expecting this to be a lot better than what I've had. The light pattern is a lot more even, and it's also a lot wider, so that the center of the screen is not much brighter than the edges. All right, so the next thing we have here is my old panel light. This is what I've been using for a couple of years now. It's a Neewer brand, which is actually a pretty well-known camera accessory manufacturer. This light actually uses the same battery style as the new panel light, which is one of the reasons why I switched, because I have a lot of this type of battery left over. This light has adjustable brightness as well, as you can see. Now, unlike the new panel light, there's no temperature control, so you kind of get this cold, harsh white light, whereas the new one will be a slightly more warm light, which I'm thinking will be a good thing. This has pretty good battery life. The max power consumption is about 11 watts, and typically I'll be able to run one battery for several hours. As I alluded to earlier, this does not really fan the light pattern out too much, and so a lot of the light is focused right in the middle of the screen. And so when I'm filming things close up, it often washes out what's in the middle of the screen, which is what I'm trying to focus on. And that's really my only complaint about this. Otherwise, despite it being a pretty cheap product, it actually has been quite reliable, pretty durable, and has produced some decent lighting quality. Alright, next item, and maybe the most important of them all, is the Phoenix headlamp that I have. This is a Phoenix HL60R. This headlamp is powered by lithium-ion batteries, and it uses a single primary emitter with 2 secondary red LEDs as well. On the side, you have a single button and a USB charging port as well. On the other side of the headlamp is a unscrewable lid that you can pull off and reveal the battery. This is an 18650 lithium ion battery. Standard size, this is 3400 milliamp hours. The battery life on this light is amazing. I'll typically go through 1 or 2 batteries in a 8 to 10 hour exploration, which is pretty impressive in my opinion. Another thing about this light is it's, I think, 8, 9, maybe 10 years old at this point. It's never let me down. It's been incredibly reliable. I've never had a single issue with it. I don't work for Phoenix. I'm not sponsored by them, but I really, really like this headlamp. It's, I think, the oldest thing that I'm going to show you in this video, and it still works just like it did when it was brand new. So it has several brightness modes. Right now the red light's on, and you can toggle between them just by tapping the button on the side. You can see this beam is kind of a cross between a spotlight and a floodlight. It has decent throw, but it's not as jarring as like a true spotlight beam style flashlight. Now I'll throw up the stats on screen here, but I believe this thing puts out about 1,000 or 1,200 lumens max. So it's not the brightest light, but to be honest, it's rare that I ever need anything over about 1,000 lumens. All right, next light on the list is the Phoenix PD32. This is also a very old light. I believe this is the 2016 edition, if I recall, so I think it's 8 years old at this point. This light has 2 buttons. The button up here is for adjusting the brightness, and the button back here is for actually turning on the light. As you can see, the PD32's beam pattern is much more focused, and this is the light that I use to shine down long tunnels to get a long distance view down things. And other than that, this light doesn't get used a whole lot, but it's kind of my primary backup light in case one of my actual primary lights goes out. This light's also been extremely reliable for me. I've never had any issues with it. And as you can see, it's been well used, covered in dirt, it's been soaked, it's been dropped, all of the above, and it's held up really well. Never had any issues in the 8 years I've had it. All right, next light to show you is the ThruNite TC20. This light was given to me by ThruNite to review, and I actually did a review on it a few years ago, so you can go check that out if you want to. A few years later, I think my review is still about accurate. It's a pretty decent light. It's very bright, and really my only complaint about it is this button is really easy to accidentally press. If it's sitting in your backpack, for example, it can get jostled around, this button gets pressed, and then your battery is drained. Similarly to the headlamp, this has a single button, and you just press it to toggle on, and then press and hold to switch brightness levels. This beam pattern is actually pretty similar to the headlamp. It's a bit more focused than the headlamp, but it's pretty similar at the end of the day. Similarly to the headlamp, the end unscrews, revealing the battery of the light, which is another lithium ion battery. This, however, is a 26650, which is wider than the 18650. And this one's 5,000 milliamp hours, which you can really only get with a bigger battery like this. All right, next on the list is an important one as well. This is my air monitor. This is a 4-gas live reading style monitor, meaning that the readings of the gases that it's monitoring are on screen and live at all times. This is an MSA Altair 4XR. I think this model is pretty popular in the caving and mine exploring community. It is rechargeable via the backside here. This unit monitors combustible gases, carbon monoxide, H2S, and of course, oxygen. Now, the most important two are gonna be oxygen and H2S. I've never actually run into H2S in an abandoned mine, but I know it's possible, and oftentimes we run into low oxygen in mines, and the only number you're seeing, everything else is 0. That's the oxygen level currently. What's nice about this unit is you can adjust all the alarm set points if you need to. It also has pretty good battery life and is pretty easy to calibrate yourself. I'll typically clip this on my backpack near my face level so that whatever it's reading is the air that I'm actually breathing. Now, if any of the gas levels reach above the alarm set points, this thing will start making a ton of noise. It even vibrates and flashes red and all sorts of fun stuff. It's pretty much impossible to miss when the alarm is going off. I've had this for about 4 or 5 years now, I believe. It's always been reliable. As you can see, just like all my other gear, it's been heavily used and abused over time, and it's held up really well to that wear and tear. I would also give a strong recommendation for this device. It's a little more expensive than some of the more basic air monitors, but because you get the live readings, you can adjust the alarm set points, you can also recalibrate it. I think it's definitely worth the extra money to buy one of these. So next thing is my GoPro. And this is a GoPro Hero 8 Black. And you can see the screen on this side. That's all really there is to it. It's mostly touchscreen controlled. Now importantly, it has a mount here that can attach the GoPro directly to my helmet. Yeah, I use this for shooting on rope stuff sometimes, or when I don't want to haul my entire camera setup out. It's really not that impressive. I think the video quality is pretty bad actually, but it was a good deal when I bought it. So I mentioned I have a few extra batteries here. These can be used for the stabilizer, the headlamp, or for my spot style flashlight. I picked these products intentionally because they all use the same battery style, so I can just get a ton of these batteries and use them all between my different devices. I almost forgot to mention the helmet, but this is pretty critical, especially if you're doing any vertical stuff. This is a Black Diamond climbing helmet, and for that reason, it's very lightweight. I've had this for a couple years now, and I've liked it so far, so I definitely recommend this as well.